Welcome back to another live stream. I am going to change glasses. It's been a crazy day getting ready for live, but here I am, and I'm excited to be with you guys. Um, and I'm hoping that you didn't miss me too much. We're going to talk about my trip. We're going to talk about a discovery on my trip. I have a poll up right now, so let me know if the audio is good. I think it's a little bit low. Oh, what did I do here? I'll get it fixed here. Hang tight. Should be much better now. Sorry about that. Um, Forgot to adjust the audio levels tonight. But again, like I said, it's been a uh, crazy day getting ready. But I want to welcome you guys. We'll say hi in the chat here for a minute. Let me clean these glasses, and that way I can see the camera better. That's what happens when you get older. So yeah, so let me know if it sounds good now. It should be better. I will hit record. Thank you, Hank, for that. I'm going to try to keep my eye on the chat tonight so I don't mess up. It's on my end. It was on my end. Okay, cool. So I got the audio up to what it looks like pretty good normal levels. It could be a little hotter. Let me bring my mic volume up just a little bit. So looking 5x5. So good to have everyone on tonight. Crank that just a little bit more. And yeah, I'm trying to get my glasses cleaned up here. So I was not live last week. I was actually on a vacation, and I did not want to advertise that we were out of town or how long we were going to be out of town. So I didn't say much other than I wasn't going to be live. And so that's much better, but it is all fogged up. There's got to be a decent cloth in here that will let me clean these glasses. So I see we have some guys in the chat, and I thank you for your patience. I know you guys didn't come tonight to watch me clean my glasses, but I need these to see the chat properly, and my other glasses do not let me do that. So let me put these on. Perfect. I can see you guys now. So let's say hi to the guys that are here and the gals, hopefully. I heard that my granddaughter might be on with us live tonight too. That will be cool. So let me put chat on the air. Let's turn Skycam off here. And chat on. Okay, and let's see. Chat on the air. So good day to you too as well, Grish. And I see that you popped back in down here and said hello again. So it's good to have you. You like to get that early bird seat. Tim from down under may not be able to join in. Domestic duties, have a good show. So Tim Morrow said hi earlier, and we will miss him if he's not in the chat tonight, but that's fine. Hank says, hi, Keith and family at all ships at sea. From Hank, it's very cold and awaiting the possible snow for the first time in several years. Yeah, so I don't know, Hank, if let's see, he say from very cold and waiting possible. Yeah, just awaiting possible snow. I don't think he's saying he wants snow, but he's awaiting snow. And I am dreading snow. I do not like snow. And we'll talk a little bit about our vacation here tonight. And we're going to talk a little tech tonight. There's not a lot of tech happening out there, it seems. A lot of conversations happening on YouTube, but not a lot of new tech. There seems to be the same things invented over and over again. We're going to talk about that, like GoPro and DJI and new drones that flip and all that stuff. But I'm going to talk about what I'm waiting for tonight. We're also going to talk about that Yoda guy that I got a chance to meet. I'll tell you why I got a chance to meet him. We're going to look at a little slideshow together tonight. I'm talking about that a little bit. Not planning on having a super long live stream tonight. We'll see how it goes, because sometimes we get excited, gets lots of questions, and I'm perfectly fine with going a little bit longer if we need to. I'll talk about my my missed flight and lots of things tonight to talk about. I hope you guys will enjoy the conversation. So again, good to have you, Hank. I think we have volume good now, hopefully. And Grish said it was quiet too, but I think he said later on that it was on his end right here. And I did hit record. Thank you, Hank, for reminding me about that. DJ Ware, it's great to have you in the house. Always good to have you. Grish said he was forgot that I was not going to be live. I was constantly refreshing until I remembered. Laugh out loud. Well, I'm glad, Grish, that you were so excited about me being able to be here last week, but I was on a vacation with my lovely bride, Shannon, and it was a great time, and we'll talk about that here tonight. So glad that you were waiting last week. Sorry that I wasn't live, and I was in no place with internet to even put up a still image. I didn't have a laptop, and we'll talk a little bit about how I went dark during those 10 days on social media in general. Good to have Joe here tonight, and always great to see you, Joe, and you too as well, David, from Down Under. And it's good to have you here. Sometimes it's good to be gone for a couple weeks, or at least one live stream, which means I'm not live for 2 weeks, because maybe people get a little bit more excited about seeing my face. I know I'm a little bit more excited today to be with you guys. And I'm just going to share a little bit about my vacation tonight. We are in January 2025. We have a little over, well, basically 10 days left. It's January 21st. You can see it's on the screen under or over my shoulder. And so had an interesting 10 days off. We left on the, let's see, when did we leave? We left on the 9th and flew to Florida, Fort Lauderdale. We got on a Caribbean ship, setting sail for places like St. Kitts, St. Maarten, and we actually had 3 ports of call, plus a 4th port that's completely an island that's not available for anybody else but a Royal Caribbean cruisers. I was on the Oasis of the Seas. You guys can Google that and look that up. That's the second time that Shannon and I went on a cruise on the Oasis of the Seas. They did reinvent that ship, or they did a major remodel. I believe back in 2018, 2019, they added some gigantic slides. They added some more water slides. They redid the decks. They did the color scheme differently. They redid the putt-putt area, all kinds of stuff. So really fun adventure. We're going to share about that here in a minute. It's good to see you, Tony. Good evening. It's been a while since I've caught your streams. Well, it's been a while since I've been on here, and I did miss you at my last live stream, but it is great to have you. That's Tony from Quick Tech Solutions. As always, subscribe to those people that are live with me tonight. Subscribe to their channels if you haven't already. If you can't find any videos on their channel, that means they don't have a YouTube channel, but even Hank has a YouTube channel. Stop and Think is his handle here on the chat. Tony has Quick Tech Solutions has a channel. Tech for Fun. Actually, Joe has a channel as well. DJ Ware has a channel. And just looking down here, I believe also Tim Morrow has a channel. So go check those out. And I try to get over to different channels as often as I can. I spend a lot of time doing research on what I talk about on my channel. But it's good to go see what other people are doing, look at the different camera angles. What do they have in their studios? What are they talking about? Is it something that I get, understand? Is it technology that I'm not super acquainted with? All those things are important to go and explore. So I hope you're exploring people that you see in some of the chats that you go to. I go to Aaron Precky's live stream on Sundays as often as I can. I also occasionally get a chance to watch DJ Ware's videos. He's not live right now. I've been able to be on a live stream with Adam Tao with Tony before. I have FaceTime with guys like Joe here tonight, Hank here tonight. I've not FaceTime, but we'll call it Zoom. I've Zoomed in my quarterly town halls with a lot of you guys and saw your faces. I have clients that sometimes come and go here on the live stream. I do consulting right here from my studio, also do live installs. So we're going to talk just a little bit about my 2025. And but let's begin by this vacation. Let's just see. We're on Sympathy of the Seas in 2009. Great cruise line for sure. Yeah. Sympathy of the Seas is another Royal Caribbean ship and beautiful ship. I've only been on the Oasis of the Seas. They have a brand new ship. The Oasis of the Seas was the biggest ship when we went on it the first time. They now have other ships that are larger than Oasis of the Seas, but we really like that ship. We thoroughly enjoy it. So let's just dive right in real quick. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. Let's get to part of our conversation tonight and why we're talking about that Yoda guy. Shannon and I, about 7 months ago, decided that actually probably 9-10 months ago, we decided we want to do a vacation. My wife is a midwife, as many of you guys may know. What does that mean? That she works with women having babies, and the advantage of having a midwife is there's a lot more care before the baby's born. My wife is there for the whole birth, and she practices home birth. So that means that she will go to the client's house, and they'll be able to have the baby right there in their house. There's a lot of parameters that decide who gets to have a home birth and who doesn't get to have a home birth because of all of the safety issues that you guys would be aware of. And maybe you were like me, and my first, Christopher was born, my first son. I was just outside waiting for them to tell me to come in and see the baby. And I didn't participate in the birth at all. But by the time my second, third, and fourth kids were born, I was participating. I was in the room with Shannon when my second oldest son, Nathan, who was by here earlier today, is going to pop in again tonight. He's in town. He's now living back in San Francisco area, California, and it's good to have him fly in yesterday. And so he's going to spend some time hanging out. It's a short trip for him. He's still handling business. He has a house here that he's selling in our area, and so he's got business to do on that. And I think they're still moving some stuff from storage back down to San Francisco, and he's lived there before. But when he was born, I was involved. I was involved when Nicole, my daughter, was born. I was involved in that. And then Bryson, who is my youngest son, he had a home birth. And so he was born in my mother and father-in-law's apartment. We had moved back from Newport, Washington, and we hadn't found a place yet, so we were staying with them. Shannon was very much pregnant, and I got to participate in that birth. I got to catch the baby. It was really, really cool. And that is a great thing to be a part of. Just give a shout out to Craig. It's great to have you in the live stream tonight. And there's other people in the live stream, but if you're not able to chat, you need to subscribe. And then after a minute, after you subscribe, you'll be able to chat with us. Love to have you say hi in the chat. If you need to subscribe just to introduce yourself and tell us where you're from, and you don't want to stay involved in the channel and unsubscribe later, that's great. I hope you'll stay subscribed and join us here for conversations on our channel. I had hoped to get my video out on part 2 of the ATEM Extreme ISO Getting Started series. It's completely done. I did all the final edits. I needed to watch it through 2 more times. I ran out of time. Shannon and I were leaving on vacation. I literally worked on it until late in the evening, the night before we were flying out. We had to leave the house at 4 a.m. We jumped on a plane at 6 a.m. and we flew to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where you jump on these ships. Our cruise was going to spend 2.5 days at sea, and 3 nights, and we're going to get up the first morning and go to St. Kitts. The next port was St. Maarten, and that was the one I was most excited about. And so we planned this cruise, and Shannon had to not take certain clients during the month of January and late December so we could just have the time off, because she can't even leave past the 50-mile radius because she's on call 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And just because they know the due date of a mom doesn't mean that the baby is going to come on a due date. So if you're a midwife, you are on call all the time. And Shannon didn't have anybody 8 months ago that could cover for her. They have to have another licensed practicing midwife. There wasn't anybody. The one that she had trained had gone to work for a local birth center, was under contract. And even though they agreed to cover each other, we weren't comfortable with trying to have her doing covering because she was under contract with this other birth center and it would take in priority. And Shannon just doesn't roll that way. And I wouldn't recommend her to roll that way. So we took a limited burst, affected us financially and everything because we wanted to block out 10 to 14 days where my wife and I could go on a vacation. Shannon desperately needed a break. She had been taking care of her mother. Her mother passed away suddenly in November. We did not expect that. So then she had that to deal with and the estate to deal with. And I dealing with that loss as well because they lived right next to us. Mom was actually staying with us when she passed away. And I shared that in post or past live streams back in 2024. But I share that to say that she desperately needed a break. So we both wanted to just be away from the phone, away from all of the things going on. So I went pretty well dark on my live stream and dark on my channel. Did not do much of any social media. We did not buy the internet package when we were on the boat. So all the days at sea, we had internet to communicate back and forth in text. We could look at the Royal Caribbean app to find out all the activities and all of that. That would work on the boat, and we could text each other. And occasionally, emails or messages would pop in, but when I tried to open them, I couldn't see them, even though they still were bleeding in to my inbox. I couldn't check those until I got off the boat at the ports, and then her and I could check our messages, let our kids know what was happening, and so on. So, but when my wife was doing research about this trip and about the ports of call, she discovered that in St. Maarten, there was a gentleman by the name of Rick Maley, and he was one of the guys that worked on the Star Wars movie. And he did makeup and special prosthetics and all of that. He worked with a team of other people on Star Wars, on Empire Strikes Back, and other movies. In fact, he has a whole museum in Philipsburg, St. Maarten on the island, and you literally can go to this museum, and he has movie memorability, and he has been very involved in a number of movies. He worked on the Chris Reeves Superman movie. He worked on the movie Kroll. He was actually the special effects lead on that movie called Kroll, and he did the monster thing that's a part of that movie, and that's where he really started cutting his teeth on doing all of these things on his own. But on Empire Strikes Back, he actually kind of reinvented Yoda. They already had a design, they already had a Yoda puppet, but on that movie, they had Yoda 1 and Yoda 2, and he stepped in and actually kind of reinvented Yoda on that set. And they started with the shots on Dagobah's system. I believe that's where Yoda lived. And so they were having so much of an issue with that puppet that he jumped in, and they supposedly used his puppet, his version, 90% of all of the shots. They did use some of the shots they'd already created, but they did 90% of that movie with the Yoda that he built. And so he has a Rescue Yoda project going on at his movie museum. And I'm going to show you guys some slides. I'm going to show you a little clip of him talking for about 3 seconds. And then I'm just going to roll the audio behind some of the slides just to save time tonight. But I was interested in going when we got to St. Maarten and seeing this museum. I had no clue that I was going to walk in and Nick would be standing there talking to people. And literally, we were in a room about three times the size of my studio. And then behind this entrance on the left and exit on the right back of that large room. So it was probably about 35 by 45. Then you could go back in this museum, pay $20 a ticket for me, $20 ticket for Shannon, and then we could go through that. And he had lots of memorabilia from those. He had face casts of many famous people. You're going to see those in the slides. That he had a face cast of people like, let's see, who did he have in there? Johnny Depp, lots of them, Angela Jolie, and you're going to see some of these face casts. And they do that. They cast their faces so they can make the prosthetics for them. So he's collected these from other movie sets. He's collected these from projects that he has worked on, because that's the technology that they worked behind the scenes. So if they're working on a real person in a suit or doing all those facial effects that you see in the Planet of the Apes and all of that stuff, they use those face masks in order to make these prosthetics. And then when the actor comes in, they can just apply them. The actor doesn't sit there while they make all these prosthetics and then they dry and then they paint them. The actor literally sits down and they already have them made and they glue them on and then they do all the paint touches and makeup. And that saves them hours upon hours because they're doing all this work ahead of time. So you're going to see some of that in this clip. And so I wanted to just say this vacation was not only a relaxation, but I did want to spend some time just thinking about technology, thinking about some of the changes that I've made in my world. I did sales for a long time. That was my second career. Before that, I did public speaking. Many of you guys know I've done ventriloquism, even professionally, and traveled around. So, you know, kind of some comedy in that because there's humor built into ventriloquism. So I love that. And then I started in 2018 or so, I dove deeper into videography, deeper into just live streaming and all of this technology that we're using even now. And before that, I had a recording studio. So, I mean, I've reinvented myself or added extra facets to myself. I'm 63 years old now. So I've added other layers over the years because I don't want to get stagnant. I don't just want to stay down one assembly line building what's-its over and over and over again, day in, day out. I've done janitorial work. I've worked as an administrator. I've worked in sales. I've worked in content management and social media. I'm now live stream. I have my own business consulting now, teaching people how to build studios, how to do podcasting, live streaming tech, how to do video production. I mean, lots of things. I even build still images for channels and clients of mine. And then I try to go live once a week if I possibly can. I say all that to say this. I'm constantly trying to consume technology and meet new people. And I've always been fascinated with the stuff that goes on behind the scenes in a movie. And so the chance for me to go and see this, and this isn't the first time I've had a chance to go and see behind the scenes and actually see some of this technology, but at this level, like Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back level with real characters from those movies on display, I've not had a chance to do much of that, little bits, but not like at this level. And so it's very exciting for me. And a lot of you guys know that the same person that built Jeff Dunham's Peanut puppet used to work on as a puppeteer, puppet builder for Jim Henson, which is the Muppets. And then she went and started her own puppet making company. She's passed away now, and her daughter's running the company. But I had Ratso built by her. And what a great experience to have someone at that level of professionalism create this Ratso puppet, which was just drawings on a piece of paper and influenced by other rats that I had seen throughout the years, cartoons, puppets, Sesame Street, all of that stuff I've seen over the years, and always really had this idea for a puppet. I still have some ideas for some other puppets, which we will talk about on a live stream later this year. And I may be going down that road. We'll see. So this experience for me to be able to go to that Yoda Guy's museum, again, in Philipsburg, St Maarten, 19A Front Street. I literally was able to walk off the boat, down the dock, follow all the other people that were going to the markets, turn right, go around the markets, down 2 streets, and I was able to walk right into Philipsburg. I think it was about 1.5 miles from the boat, and we were able to go inside the museum, and I got to meet Nick Maley and his wife, who was working behind the counter that day, and never thought I would be able to meet someone like that. And we were able to have the conversation. I was able to ask him questions. My wife asked him questions. In fact, my wife spent probably 15 minutes talking to him when I was walking through the museum. And then he was talking to some young people that came in the room. He's quite an inspirational person. He's really a motivator. He's fought cancer twice and has beat it. He is working to try to rescue some of these important artifacts, whatever you want to call them, from the movie industry, and especially from that creative arts side of it. And so quite fascinating to go in there. So talking a lot about it. So let's get to some pictures here. You cue this up. And do this. So I'm going to roll this. This is a slideshow, and there's got some music in the background, but I'm going to do some talking over it and stop this. This is the entrance that goes up the stairway. And so basically it is a 2-level design. I'll show you some pictures later of the museum. Again, Philipsburg, St Maarten. You walk up the stairs because it's on the 2nd level. And as you go up the stairs, you're greeted by this sign. I thought this sign was quite fascinating. It's behind me too, right here. But it's, excuse me, sir, it's C-3PO talking in this image. And he says, excuse me, sir, but R2 says the probability of finding a Star Wars exhibit in the Caribbean is 125,316 to 1. And Shannon and I laughed at this because of the humor of how it was actually 3CPO that was always giving the odds, and he blames R2 for this one. But yeah, there was a Star Wars exhibit in the Caribbean, and that's what's really fascinating about this. Let's continue rolling these slides. I'll stop on some of these. Oops. So this is the entrance upstairs. You're going to walk in that door in the museum, into the museum, and he has apartments there as well, I believe, that you can rent on that same level. And there's a look in. As soon as you walk in, you're greeted with a counter on your right, and on the left is a really cool Yoda display, Yoda history, so everybody can see part of the museum exhibits without paying any money. And as you walk in, on my left was Nick Maley talking to some people.
Jackson, Sean Connery, Humphrey Bogart, Angelina Jolie, Tom Cruise, Marlon Brando.
So he's actually talking in the background about the different facial molds they have and different people that they talk about inside the museum. So he's given the list here, but here's the picture that I saw as I walked in, and that's him working on one of the mechanical versions of Yoda. And because you know that some of it was mechanical, some of it was puppet. And he said there was like 3 different puppets that they used all the time to shoot Empire Strikes Back. And I believe this is the one that he worked on.
Lando, Catherine Hepburn.
There's other movie memorabilia that was actually in the movies. Gonk, I think it's called there.
It's 90 years of movie history.
There he is holding a puppet version of Yoda that he made so that he could go around and promote what he's doing in the museum and raise money. He does high schools. He goes to events, Star Wars events, and it's quite cool. That's one of the puppets that he's made.
All told on DVDs and holograms by people who were actually there.
There's a shot, and there's the little bit of Yoda history right there. And that is an actual head sculpt of the size of Yoda. And you're going to see Yoda later in a kind of protected display area. It's protected with wires. They can sense if anybody tries to go in there. I was able to sneak my phone through and take a couple snaps. So I got the wires out of the shot.
So if you want to go through there, you'll let me.
Here he is doing the Yoda that was his puppet.
No, that supports our
There's a team that he worked with.
non-profit where I'm trying to inspire you to follow.
Then there's Yoda. And you can hear him in the background talking about how he travels around wanting to inspire people. He wants people to actually, and this is why I wanted to talk about this, he wants to inspire people to actually do things. And one of the things I really appreciate about being live and meeting people is that Hank talked about retiring, and he worked in the TV field, and he helped actually launch a TV station in his local area after he was planning on retiring. And that's an inspirational story. And I've reinvented myself. Many of you guys have reinvented yourself. You started YouTube channels. You started learning about live streaming tech. And I just love that he's inspiring people. He actually wrote a book. And I think you're going to see a picture of that in one of these slides. So I'll let you guys hear a little bit more of what he had to say.
Your dreams, to think big and not to settle for less just because your friends do. You know, it's normal to go to school, you take your standards from your friends. You go to college, you do the same thing. You get a job, you do the same thing. That is normal, because normal, most people are. In other words, it's average.
So I loved how he said normal is what people do. That's people typically do normal. Now you can see the grid, these wires coming down, but these are life-size real characters from the movie. That's actually a model of the design for the stop motion that they were going to be doing for the movie. So if you watch Empire Strikes Back, you're going to see this in Luke and a hand on one of these used as stop motion. So this was the original model. This is from the Planet of the Apes, not the original series, but the one movie they did. And then there's actually a face mold with hair and all that here as well. That's actually a prosthetic that was used in that movie that he recently purchased and added to his display. So that would have been glued on to a face with the real eyes showing through, real nostrils showing through. And this was made to fit someone's face. They weren't just masks. These were made prosthetically to glue on to an existing face. So they used the mold of the face. So if they're going to do that for me and make me into an ape, they would literally use a mold of my face, close your eyes, they do the whole mold, and then they have the mold to make all the prosthetics on, which was quite fascinating. He explained that process. They do it in a number of different steps. So when they're doing the mouth part of it, you can breathe through your nose, and then they open up the nose and you can breathe through your mouth, and then they do the mouth, and they actually have to open up these holes and put things in your nose when they do that. And it's done in a number of steps, and the person does have to sit for that. But once they sit for that, then they don't have to sit again except for to get the prosthetics put on. There you go, Tusken Raider, full size from the movie you saw earlier. Han Solo in carbonite. That's a life-size version of Han Solo in carbonite earlier in the slideshow. There he is talking. That's my wife on the left, and some guy standing there on the right. He was talking to each of these guys. And there's his wife. He's behind the counter on the left, and she's sitting down at the counter between that couple. And they're getting ready to go through the exhibit. And so she is using they're not using a computer to do that. They're using old school invoice paper. And then all throughout this museum and that room, you have these cards. He puts these cards together. He has original script copies. Some of them are numbered because later in the later Star Wars movies and later in the movies he worked on, they actually had coded numbers on each of those so they could make sure they had every single script copy back. But some of the earlier copies that he got were from people that worked on the movie. All of them were given scripts because they had to work on all these characters. And when they had their meetings, the description of the character and some of the drawings would help them understand what they were creating. Some of these characters were really roughly drawn, and then they had to develop them. You're going to see some rough drawings of Boba Fett here coming up, but he would sell those and he would sign them. And so some of them have that in his museum are autographs from people who played inside the characters that worked with him. He built prosthetics for them. So you're going to see the original guy in Chewbacca, the original guy who was in R2-D2 when they needed R2-D2 to actually walk before they were able to make the mechanical R2-D2s now. They actually had a guy in the suit. You'll see an autograph from him. And then all of these can be bought $450. They're smaller cards. Signed are more expensive than unsigned. And then his wife helps him put together these background images. And then you can purchase these unframed from them. And they use that money to continue the museum, continue to acquire some of these things. And so let's just go on through, and you see a number of facial prosthetics. Maybe you can guess who some of the people are. Maybe you'll be able to read it. Just gonna roll this. So here's some on the wall. Here's some more with stories. That's a drawing that he's doing now. He's doing painting. There's his book, Do or Do Not. And the cool thing about that book is that in that he has all of these things that he wanted to say to people about stepping outside of their comfort zone. He'd have never done the job that he was doing later in his years if he wasn't willing to take risk. And he talks about how it completely transformed his life, and it's still doing that, even where he's at now in St Maarten in Philipsburg, and purchasing the museum and fighting to keep it alive and adding more and more to it has been a challenge for him. So he worked on Men in Black. He worked on the original Superman, lots of things. And that is that statue, the life-size version of Yoda's head that's right in the lobby when you come in. And then the other one that you saw with Baby Yoda and the other monsters that he made, or whatever they are, he made in that display, those are back in the museum proper. Here's a bunch of the different people. There was, I think, 6 puppeteers that worked with Yoda. They all did different parts of that. And this is the puppet Yoda that was used in Empire Strikes Back. He goes to celebrations, and they can people can come and see Yoda. He operates Yoda at these presentations, though he was not an operator of Yoda on the Empire Strikes Back set. He was a creator and a designer, and they had puppeteers that did that. These are just autographs I believe this is autographed by the guy that was in Chewbacca's costume. This is his actual desk. 2 weeks before I got there, he was actually working on a new project. I'll show you some of his social media channels where he's going to let people know what he's working on eventually. Right now, it's top secret, but he was actually working on that bench. And around the corner, you're going to see the other part of his desk where he works. But this is actually where he works. So when you go into their showroom area, you actually can walk right up to his desk. And many times he's working at his desk in between people coming into the museum because he's got to work on these projects while he also will stand up and do museum tours and things like that as well for groups. That's his desk right around the corner. You can see all the paints, and that's his little computer desk right there. Lots of stuff. I watched him open up mail. He opened up a UPS package right there when I was talking with him. It was hilarious. Stormtrooper. That Yoda on the right was a fundraiser that he designed that and created it. It's a little statue that people could actually win. I believe he did these on his YouTube channel. He also made just a head bust of Harrison Ford frozen, and from about here up, and you can see that on his social media channels. I think they did a giveaway for those. Lots of cool stuff. Crawl was a movie I watched when I was a young man. I loved that movie. That's one of the blades that was used in the movie. He worked on that monster on the right-hand side, which was on the poster. He was the #1 guy that did all of that. And actually, that monster was one of the most complicated monsters that had been used in a movie. And that opened up many doors from him. And because he was starting to be limited on the team for Star Wars. So he branched out and started working on other movies and other projects. There's some original drawings of Boba Fett. These are original drawings of Boba Fett. These are signed notes to him. I believe that's the character inside Darth Vader. So that's just some slides that I put together so I could take you guys through a little bit of my journey. I have a lot more photographs. I did not put the slideshow together of all the photographs I had. I took pictures of everything that I liked in there. I was inspired by it, but I am going to pop up his card. So, and then I'll get back to the comments here. Just give me a second. But here's the card. I'm just going to pop this over my face. So you guys can take a picture of that right now with your phone or do a screenshot. But that's his social media handles. So you can look some of these up. I'll show you some of these. You got nickmaley.com. You got The Real Yoda Guy on Instagram. Twitter, he's Star Wars Yoda Guy. YouTube, he's the Yoda Guy, Nick Maley. I'll show you some of these pages here in a second. Then here is the back of the card. Hope you guys got a chance to do a screenshot of that, or you can watch this back. There is the back of the card. So that's an actual business card that I grabbed, so you guys can do a screenshot of that as well. And then that's real art that he's doing. He's doing these sketches and selling those also to raise money for that nonprofit, which is what the museum is. It's not for profit. It's a nonprofit. And here is a look at the outside of the building. That's right on that street, 19th Ave. So that's a look at the building he's in. The stairway is there to the left. You go right in there, and then you end up on that top floor. About halfway down is where you enter in the building. Here's a closer up look of the entrance. And then that's that stairway that I showed you guys in the slideshow. And so quite a fascinating journey for me to go on this Caribbean cruise. That's a shot from St. Kitts. We took a bus tour of the history of the island, and so I got this at the lookout point. My wife actually held a monkey up there as well, and so we saw some geckos, and we had a great time. My wife was really enjoying every second. There's the Oasis of the Seas behind us. Before we went back on the boat, that was in I can't remember what harbor. I think I wore that Star Wars shirt in St. Kitts, and we were getting ready to go back on the boat. There's my St. Kitts ball cap. I bought a different ball cap at all the ports. Here we are up on the walkway overlooking the inside of the boardwalk. So there's all of these balcony suites looking down over the boardwalk. You can see the knot water slide behind us that goes from the top of the ship down into the boardwalk, and you get on mats to do that slide. And again, here's that shot that I got of Yoda. Stuck my phone behind the curtains, and I believe that's his puppet. Actually, he keeps it in there on display, if I remember correctly what he told me. So there's the puppet, and my pride and joy right here is me shaking hands with him. He was the nicest guy, such a motivator, and I loved absolutely every second of this experience with him. So let me put the chat on the air here, and I will do my best to catch up to what you guys have been saying. Good to have you with us, Doug, as always. Thanks for joining in. Hope you're enjoying this. I'm glad that Joe is a Star Wars fan. And speaking of that, I have a poll up right now. 62% of you say yes, you are a Star Wars fan, and 38% of you said you're not. So I apologize for that. We're going to be talking about something else here really soon. So stay tuned. Tony says, not a Star Wars fan, but really cool stuff. I'm glad you are enjoying that, Tony. Let's see here. Joe says he knows he's made it when someone makes a bust of his head. Good to have you, Jay, on the channel tonight. There is music playing in the background of my slideshow. I added it there, so I apologize for that. I know I was talking over softer music. Soundtrack of my life? Maybe. Jay has no stream tonight. He's been going live on some of the Tuesdays, so he's announcing there is no stream tonight. Yeah, it is a little bit darker in my studio tonight. And Jay says he is not a Star Wars fan. So again, the conversation tonight, just so you guys know, is not about Star Wars, but I'm glad you guys are answering the question that I put up there. That has now been ended. But I just wanted to ask that question. I'm really talking about the technology, because the prosthetics, the puppeteers, all that technology in our world is changing. It's changing in puppet design. It's changing in animatronics. They created some animatronics. Many people know there was the Hall of the Presidents at Disneyland, the Tiki Hut, where the birds would sing, that were used. And the Hall of Presidents, I think, is at one of the parks. So Disney's used animatronics. There was some restaurants in California that you could walk in, and were inspired by Disneyland and had talking birds as they went in. I did some research years ago on animatronics and how to design all of that. The same kind of motors that they use in RC cars, those racing cars, are the same kind of controls that they use in animatronics. They're radio controllable. And so you could have one open and close a mouth, another one could turn the eyes, another one could raise the eyes up and down. There's just all kinds of technology that's changing, and it's affecting everything. The chips are getting smaller, the motors are getting smaller, the technology is changing. Some of these really fast motors now have been designed by Tesla. Those motors are now running vehicles down the road. There's technology now using cameras that you can find in DJI drones. That technology, those cameras are in Tesla vehicles, so they can be automatic going down the highway, making all the decisions for you. Backup cameras have been added to vehicles for keeping you from backing into things. So I really wanted to talk about how I was inspired to go to meet this guy, because he was one of those early adopters and starting to use this technology. In fact, in the Kroll movie, you can go do your own research. He took some of the technology and things he learned working for Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. He took those things that he learned and applied them to other movies. And many of you guys know that Light and Magic came out of the Star Wars movies. The LucasArts company and many other movies hired them to do special effects. And they used blue screen back in those days. They weren't using green screen. And so all of that technology that you see in those early Star Wars movies, from how they did the flybys with cameras and ships flying by, that's the technology that gets me going, because now we live in a day where we have these smartphones. In fact, I wanted to talk about this tonight, technology. The iPhone and Galaxy phones and other brands were the #1 tool people were using for everything. They weren't using cameras. In fact, I saw less people on this cruise by about 80% using iPhones. 80% more people were using iPhones over regular cameras. So you get off the boat, people were doing selfies, people were doing video, people were filming, people were doing audio, people were doing podcasts. I saw people talking to people on my phone. I saw people doing FaceTime with people on their phones. So the technology, the phone, in fact, I did not take one of my cameras. I took my Polar Pro kit, take this OtterBox off and put my Polar Pro adapter, and then I have my ND filters, my polarizing filter that snaps on that. So I did all of my photographs and all my video on this trip using my iPhone. And then if I had too much video, I could just download it on this little adapter that plugs in the bottom of my iPhone. An SD card plugs right into it. You can also plug in a micro SD card right there. So having this, they make this in a USB-C version for the newer iPhones. My phone still has the Lightning adapter. And so the fact that I can use this in my studio using this adapter, and the fact that I can download files off of my iPhone onto an SD card to make more room on my iPhone, the technology that's around us is changing exponentially, and I'm really excited about what is going to be announced, I believe, in 2025. For some reason, I feel like we're going to have some surprises in 2025, not just the reinvention of technology that we've already seen, but some new technology I believe is going to be surfacing very soon. We saw some of the announcements that Black Magic made about the chip sizes and just incredible resolutions that they're able to do now with chips. None of us probably have a camera with some of these 12K, 18 or 16K chips that are available out there, but we've heard those announcements. Those that listened to Grant at Black Magic Designs announcement last spring, I believe we're going to see more announcements this year, and I'm really, really excited about that. So let's finish catching up. How was the food on the boat? The food was pretty good. I talked to other people. Shannon and I did a lot of conversations with people in the airport, a lot of conversations with people waiting to get on our ship, people at the hotel that we were staying at, because we flew in on Thursday and didn't get on the boat until Saturday morning. We wanted to acclimate ourselves in Fort Lauderdale, so we did the water taxi in Fort Lauderdale. We saw Steven Spielberg's old boat that he sold to a steel baron. And I have a picture of that. If you guys would like to see that, I'll share it in a future stream. But a gigantic yacht, I think it was 4 or 5 stories tall, and it has now been sold to a Canadian steel baron. But that was Steven Spielberg's boat at one time. And so quite a crazy season. Jay says he's going on a cruise later this year. So Oasis of the Seas has good food. There was private restaurants that you had to pay for. Shannon and I spent $19 in the bistro on, let's see, we got off the boat on Sunday. So it was Friday evening. We ate in the bistro in the back of the boat. We'd never eaten there before. The last time we were on that cruise, we never ate in that restaurant. And it's basically kind of a bistro sit-down restaurant. It's free, but there was 3 things on the menu that you had to pay for. Filet mignon was $19.99. Was a complete meal. Not a dessert or a salad with it. Those things were free. You'd get before and pick, and after for dessert, before for salad. But the main course had mashed potatoes and filet mignon. It was amazing. I got to eat all of my piece and a quarter or more of Shannon's because it was just too much for her. So I love filet mignon. But we normally just eat the free food. So they have the Windjammer restaurant on 2 floors. One floor is just walk in and buffet style. The other floor is sit down and dine. So we did that 2 nights where we sat down and waiter brought us our order. And then we also just went up and filled our plate. I ate way too much. So I am on a phase out of the extra weight I put on the cruise. But I would give the food on Royal Caribbean about a 7 out of 10 of all of the food I've eaten. I've been on Disney cruises. I've also been on Princess cruises. And so I find the food on Princess and Disney a little bit better, probably somewhere around 9. And people told me that I was talking to about other cruises. They say the food is really good on Norwegian. Excellent food. They have smaller boats. We want to go on Oasis of the Seas because it has lots of activities. I did not play poker. The last time I was on the cruise, people were playing poker. It was about $50 to $100 to buy in. But the average buy-in in their poker tournament was $200. I did not go planning on to play a tournament for $200 cash, so I did not play poker. And then they were playing 5-10 limit, Texas Hold'em, in the evenings when you just sit down at the poker table, and the average guys were buying in there about $200 worth of chips. And so I watched a little bit of poker, probably about 3 hours of poker, because I love watching it. But I did not play on this cruise, didn't gamble at all on this cruise. And Shannon and I don't drink alcohol. And people ask me why, and I tell them because Shannon says it makes me stupid. But it's not that I'm against alcohol. We just don't personally drink. I drank when I was younger, and I didn't drink limited. I drank unlimited. And so I made some choices as a younger man not to involve myself in that. But I hope you guys enjoy a drink or two if you want one. We have friends that drink, and we go out with people. I sit in bars when I was selling RVs and would order a strawberry lemonade. I'm sure people thought I was drinking with all the other people I was working with, but I haven't. But I have nothing, like I said, against alcohol unless it's abused like anything else. So hope you don't take that the wrong way. But so did not even buy a pop card. I wanted to stay away from all the chemicals in soda because I was already getting lots of salt and lots of greasy food. So I just stayed away from pop. I think I had 1 Coke Zero that Shannon bought me on like night 6 when we were getting ready to watch one of the one of the inside like mall area on the ship. So it was quite fun. Does Oasis have the elevator bar lounge between floors? We enjoyed that. Yeah, the Oasis of Sea has the elevator bar that goes up and down. So basically, it starts on the main promenade, which is where you come in the ship. I think it's like floor 5, right? And you come in, it's like an indoor boardwalk. So it's like being in a really fancy mall, a lot of dark, wood feel in there. They have a number of private restaurants. They have diamond stores. They have stores there with stuffed animals. They have a pizza place. They have a couple places there you can get coffee and snacks. It was just really cool. But it does have a bar that starts on that floor, and then you can ride it up to the atrium, which is outside, and you can get out and go on the atrium. So it's like this beautiful, like Italy atrium with plants and stuff outside. That's one of mine, Shannon's favorite place. We also like going back and in the boardwalk because they have a giant aqua theater there with 2 giant screens. And I watched the Jason Bourne movie, I think on night 4 out there until 1 o'clock in the morning. It was an absolute blast out there by myself, just enjoying the Caribbean weather. And it was average temperature about 75 degrees on our trip. So it wasn't super hot, very humid. I think the average humidity was 82 to 83%. Everywhere we went, that was about the same as Florida when we got to Fort Lauderdale, though it was probably 65 when we got to Fort Lauderdale. We were wearing our jackets when we were in Fort Lauderdale and sweatshirts. But when we got on the boat after day 1, it got in the 70s and everybody was swimming. It was a great time. So what food is included, what's not? So almost any kind of food you want. There's like a sandwich shop downstairs. They also do salads there. So you can get a salad. You can get desserts there. They had cheddar and sour cream chips, Lay's chips. They had regular Lay's chips. They ran out of potato chips like day 6. It was a 9-day cruise. So again, we got on the boat on a Saturday and got off the boat on a Sunday. So day 9 was the day we woke up and got off the boat. So and day 1 was the day we got on the boat and got to spend an evening and a night on the boat. But day 9 was just to get out of here. And Shannon and I walked off at about 7:30 and got a Uber and went to a hotel where we had a day pass. And then Fort Lauderdale, we were going to fly out at 6 o'clock, but there was such bad weather outside of Fort Lauderdale. We stayed on the tarmac for 2 hours and 15 minutes. So we missed our Seattle to Pasco flight. So we ended up staying Monday in Seattle. So Shannon and I did not get home until last night at about 10:30. My daughter picked us up from the airport. We spent a day in Seattle. I got to see my cousin and his wife and his son. And we went to the mall and hung out. And our plane was rebooked to 8 o'clock, leaving Seattle to Pasco. So literally, we missed our 11 o'clock flight out of Seattle and had to find a hotel at 2 a.m. in the morning. And we did the best we could to enjoy yesterday off. And then Shannon and I both sat on the couch this morning and went through the hard adjustment because Tuesday's a really busy day for me. I still have client work tonight I have to finish, and it's a busy day getting ready for live streams, plus supporting her because she has clients all day on Tuesday. So I was out cleaning the patio, the walkway into the house this morning, and unpacking this morning with her. So we had a busy day today. We're going to enjoy this evening off, and then later tonight I will be working for a client right here in the studio. So the food is free, but there's pay restaurants if you want to go to the higher restaurants, and it's like anywhere from $19 to $29 for the food on the boat, and that would be lobster. And then they had a free lobster night. Shannon and I really aren't into lobster, but they had free lobster the last night of the cruise, which was Saturday night. We just, I don't even think we ate dinner on Saturday night. We spent most of our time in the Windjammer. They had sausage and bacon. They'd make omelets for you. There's a taco bar on the ship that you can go to and have tacos. Some of these different specialty places close at 6 o'clock, so they're not available in the evening. Some of the places stay open all night. So most of the food is free on the cruises unless you want the nicer food. Pop is unlimited, but you have to buy a card for that, so it's not free. And drinks are not free either. They have drink packages if you want alcoholic beverages. They're not free as well. But coffee, tea, different juices are available free around the ship. So, and they have great kids food. They had hot dogs and hamburgers on the boardwalk. They have a really cool hot dog stand. You can get a free hot dog. There's like 3 different type hot dogs, brats, a German type hot dog and a traditional hot dog out there on the back boardwalk. Lots of cool stuff. Can you eat 24 hours a day? Yes. They ran out of potato chips. Yeah, bagged potato chips, but they never ran out of French fries. And I had French fries. I love French fries. So I had French fries 75% of the meals. In fact, I would go and have a taco and then later go get French fries in the main buffet area. Like the stream, everyone. Yeah, please hit like. So I wanted to finish up tonight talking about this technology that I believe is going to take place in 2025. I just feel like there's been an acceleration. Like even President Trump yesterday in his inaugural speech, he said that they're going to put American flag on Mars. So that got Elon Musk, camera panned over to Elon Musk. Shannon and I were sitting in the hotel yesterday morning in Seattle because we were going to come home and watch the inauguration on Monday together on Sunday night, but we didn't get home. So we got up, went to the morning buffet that they have at the hotel we were at in Seattle, when we found at 2 a.m. in the morning, and we sat there. They had a TV on, the volume really low with the typing on the screen, closed captioning on the screen so we could read what President Trump was saying. Then later on during his speech, they turned it up and he said he's going to plant an American flag on Mars. And it just reminded me of Elon Musk and the fact that he was actually able to launch a rocket and then land a rocket back on the pad. Then he tried it again and they weren't able to land it. But just the technology, I mean, we've always just let those rockets engines fall and stay in space. Capsules coming down with parachutes and landing in the ocean. And now space shuttles would take off like a regular spaceship launch from NASA, but then it could land on a runway later. Fascinating. The technology has happened over the years. So as drone technology and camera technology is increasing, I really believe that 2025, 2026, 2027, the next 3 years, we're going to see some exponential growth in technology. Now, my biggest beef I wanted to share tonight is this. A lot of it's just reinventing the same thing. Like, how many different drones does DJI need to make? You know, I mean, come on. I'm looking for cutting edge new technology. I think the Elgato prompter is cutting edge new technology. Most prompters, you got to take an iPhone or an iPad or a monitor, and then you got to buy an app, and then you have a teleprompter. Blackmagic Design came out with a HybridX shuttle, and it has a prompter built into it. I thought that was really cool, but there's no monitors, no LCD screen. So when Elgato came out with the prompter, that's a monitor for your PC, and that you can actually have voice text advance it from it. You already have microphones on computers, so you have to have a microphone somewhere for the prompter to hear what you're saying, to hear your voice. But I run it from my laptop. My laptop has a microphone built into it, so all I have to do is enable that, and my prompter will actually move as I talk. I think that was cutting edge technology. Now, the LCD screen is old technology, but it is something that no one else in reality I had seen had made before. That technology excites me. That technology is in my studio. And if I had my way, I would have 3 prompters. I'd have one on this camera, which I have, so I can look right at you as I read the chat. And I'd like to have a prompter over here, and I'd like to have a prompter on camera 1. So I have these different camera angles. None of them time out now. So, because I have literally now 2 EOS Rs by Canon and one Canon 5D Mark IV, and they don't time out. They're on all the time, which is great. I used to have my Canon 5D Mark III hooked up. It's been retired right here, sits on my shelf. And when I bought the EOS R, it came with 2 lenses, 35. Let's see, is this a 50 and a 24 mil? And the 24 mil is actually wide enough. I could use this as an overhead camera, but it times out and that drives me crazy. So I don't use it for that. So that camera has been officially retired, and I'm using old technology. So I'm still waiting for Canon to do something special. And I think the EOS R in reality was the last real advance that Canon made. I know they have the R5, the R6, R5 version 2, all those cameras, the R10, all of them, but I just see them changing sensor size, just playing around with different features. But I am waiting for that new camera, like when the Blackmagic design came out with a pocket cinema camera the very first time. I'm waiting for that kind of technology. I'm waiting for advancements in HyperDex, and I'm looking forward to what some of this technology might be coming up in this area. So, okay, Tony asked this. Oasis sounds very much like Symphony. I think they're identical. I wonder if all RC ships have the same floor plans. No. Royal Caribbean have different size chips, different floor plans. In fact, their new ship was like $2,000 a person. I saw a deal right now today when I was doing some research that you could go on a cruise for, I think it was $899, 7-day Caribbean cruise for $899. You go to a place and get transportation, food, and the fun that you can get on a cruise and the ports of call for that kind of money. $899 to go on some of these major ships for Royal Caribbean. And again, they're trying to fill these boats. They're running ads all the time. They'll give you $200 of ship credit. So we used our ship credit, and it was great. I had a coffee card, and I used the last 2 punches on that card the last day. As I was leaving, I bought a 16-ounce latte with my card. A 12-ounce was a single punch. A 16-ounce latte with 2 shots was 2 punches. And I think there was 14 punches on that card, and we used our onboard credits to get the card. And there was something else. Oh, we did this escape room, which was really cool. You should read about it on the Oasis of the Seas. We had, it was like we were in NASA, and our job was to break into evidently there was an evacuation, and our team was sent in to launch a spaceship. And so we had to work together as a team. I think there was 8 of us, and we had an hour to find out how to activate all these different consoles, and it was crazy. And we literally launched that ship with, I think, 2 seconds left to spare. In fact, the guy that was there who came in at the very end to kind of give us some help, because they don't want anybody not to be able to complete it. So we did get a little bit of help. But in reality, we had to divide up in teams and conquer. And so Shannon and I were able to very end to find a key lock. It was a little padlock with 3 little tumblers on it. And we were trying to figure out what the password was. And what it turned out the password was, and I don't want to give this away, you had to figure out what this sheet of paper meant. It had 4 frames on it, and it said something about break the code. And so we couldn't figure out what that was, and we finally figured that out. We found the code, and that opened the padlock, and that activated the last console. And then we had to do some switching of satellites and stuff like that, and we barely launched the ship with 2 seconds to spare, the guy said. So it was quite fulfilling. That was available. Mission control, I think, escape room. And again, we used our onboard credits to buy Shannon and I a pass. I think it was like $40 for each of us to do that. And it was well worth it. It was the best $40 I spent on the whole trip. I got a different hat from each of the ports, including a great day at Coco Cay, or a beautiful day at Coco Cay, which is their private island. It's crazy. It's like Disneyland for for beaches, and it was great. They had an amusement park there that you have to pay to get into. They had private beaches that you have to pay to get into, but there was lots of beaches, free food there as well. It was great. Ate well there, so absolutely amazing. So, okay. So we started at 4. It's 5:15. I want to continue and see if you guys have any insight into what you think tonight is going to change. Who do you think is going to release new technology? You think it's going to come from Blackmagic Design? You think DJI? You think Rode's going to come out with something crazy cool like they came out with the Rodecaster video? There seems to be a lot of buzz about it. I think it's kind of positive. Who knows? It's just kind of like they took the idea of the ATEM, tried to make it more user-friendly. I didn't feel like they reinvented anything or created something new. If you compare the ATEM to a YOLO box, then yeah, YOLO box created something pretty cutting edge. Again, I think the prompter last year would be the tech in my world that I added to my studio that I'm really excited about. Many of you guys know I love the Rodecaster 2, Pro 2. I have 2 of them. I have the original Rodecaster Pro. I think they're great tools in the studio. So your thoughts on that? So Joe says, hasn't been anything revolutionary in Blackmagic Design switching lately. Yeah. So who's it going to be? Remember last year we talked about how Rode purchased a sound company. Can't think of the name of it right now. What was it? Put it in the chat if you remember that. So I'm hoping there's going to be some collaborations. So Tony says, I have some zero inside information, but I feel like Epiphan is going to hit with us with something really cool. Okay, so maybe Epiphan. Maybe you guys don't know anything about that. Check that out. Yeah, it was Mackie and Rode are one company now. Rode purchased Mackie. Lots of people use the Mackie equipment, and I have friends that have Mackie equipment. I've used it in the past. So I think there's going to be some kind of new cutting edge technology. I mean, phones have gotten better and better, but I can't say that there's been any land breaking technology. So again, if you haven't hit the like button, please do that to help support the channel. Let's promote this nonprofit with that Yoda Guy, because again, I think having a guy like that, approachable, that you can go talk to, I'd have loved to had time to stay and just hang out with that guy. I'd love to go intern under him and work behind the scenes as he's building this new puppet. Oh, I wanted to show you guys this, so let me just go here real quick. Let's see. Let's do me and my laptop here. So this is his Facebook channel, the Yoda Guy movie exhibit. And he says right here, this was released a day ago. Hello, guys. As I mentioned before, this year is full of surprises and a new project, and I can't talk a lot about it. But here is a new deal that he's working on. And you can see he's got some moving eye here technologies in the middle of building. So you can go check out his channel and see more information here. I put a link in the description below. That's got a really cool video showing him operating the Yoda puppet. Let me switch here and I'll see if I can find that. I'm not going to show the video, but I will put it on the screen. This video right here is called Bring Yoda to Life Again. It's on Nick Maley, that Yoda Guy YouTube channel. You can see I haven't subscribed to it yet. I'm going to subscribe to this live. So now I have subscribed and I am going to ring the bell. So I just subscribed to his channel. He's got 16,100K subscribers on his YouTube channel. And again, here he is with a bunch of students with the Yoda puppet. And this video talks about that. Again, I'm not going to play it while I'm live here because I don't have rights to it. But so I just believe that the technology is increasing, and I believe that there's going to be some releases. So let me share an idea that I've had for years about some puppets. Many of you guys know I have Ratso. Well, when I was having Ratso made, I was also trying to figure out how to have 3 parrot characters created. I was inspired by the Muppets, the 2 old guys in the balcony. I was also inspired as a young man by the Tiki Room at Disneyland. I thought the animatronics at Disneyland were absolutely incredibly cool. And now they've gone to a whole new level. I'm not into wax museums. It's really cool if you walk up to a Johnny Depp character, but it's not Johnny. If they had a Jack Sparrow actually animated and using Jack's voice, that would be really cool. As you can see in the Pirates of the Caribbean, they've added some characters in there. I think they recently removed Jack Sparrow during all of that controversy, but again, that was really cool. They used to hire a guy to play Jack Sparrow, and I know that Johnny Depp has made appearances dressed like Jack Sparrow to different kids that were passing away for just going to the hospitals, which is really cool. So I believe that this technology is merging. You've got camera technology changing, chip technology changing. Computers are getting small. Look how fast the new Mac M4 Pro Macintosh is. I mean, you can do full-on video 8K editing from these devices now, where my computer cost me, my Mac back when I owned my recording studio cost me $6,900. My laptop cost me $3,000. An i9 2060 NVIDIA card in it, 1 terabyte, 32 gigs of RAM. This laptop cost me almost $3,000 when I bought it new. I've spent $4,000 on cameras, $5,000 on cameras in my studio. I have recently purchased a whole sound system. I have 1 subwoofer left to purchase, but I've spent thousands of dollars on that so I can do outside audio stuff this next year. So technology is changing. So your guys' thoughts. I would love to have Rick on a future stream. They don't do Zoom anymore. I'm not sure how I would do that. He and his wife are pretty old school, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to ever have him on. But if Shannon and I ever go to St. Maarten again, I want to arrange an interview with him and actually do a sit-down interview with him and bring it on my channel. He's been battling cancer. I don't know if he's cancer-free. I was going to do some more research, but I think back in 2019 or 2020, he had to battle cancer again, and you can see all that on his Facebook page if you guys go check him out. What's Benjamin C. Bear been up to lately? Haven't heard from him in quite a while. We'll see if we can have Benjamin C. Bear, which is my bear character that I sewed together as a young teenager. I've had him since I was 18 years old. I made him. Rudy or the rhododendron, I ordered in a catalog, just the hand puppet. And then I took a pot, cut a hole in it, made the top, made all the leaves. So I have Rudy the rhododendron. I have Ratso. I have Grandpa Jones. I made a Grandpa Jones puppet years ago. No, I bought a Grandpa Jones puppet years ago. Then I replaced the smaller Grandpa Jones with another Pavlov puppet. So I have 4 puppets all together right now. Ratso, Benjamin C. Bear, Grandpa Jones, and Rudy the rhododendron. And again, I want to add these parrots. I want them to be fully animatronic. I still want to be able to operate them so I can do voices for them. So they will actually be in a ventriloquist show that I've had designed in my head for years and years and years. I want to do it in schools to teach principals to students, working with young adult teachers and helping them send messages and themes on just, how to treat each other, how to work socially, that we're better together than we are separate. 2 can do more than 1 person when they work together. Look at Paul McCartney and John Lennon. One of the books I have in my library is a book called The Power of Twos. It talks about how people have been put together throughout the years, and they've been able to do 10 times more by working together than they ever, sometimes 100-fold than they were able to do apart. So I believe technology is going to grow, and maybe we'll see Benjamin C. Bear here pretty soon on the channel. But I really want to have these puppets designed. It's still on my bucket list, and I want animatronic puppets. One's going to be from Mexico, one's going to be English, and another one's going to be a down home. I haven't quite sure. Maybe a kind of a cross between Grandpa Jones and Ratso, who knows? But I want those characters in my show, and I want them to be able to be pre-programmed to do things while I'm waiting to come out. So they'll be talking to each other about the show, letting people know what's going to come, what's about to come. And then I'll be able to interact with those puppets in the middle of my show. So I can have Ratso talking, and all of a sudden one of those puppets will be cued by something I say, and they'll interrupt me, and I will be able to talk to those puppets. And then I also want to be able to operate them. So that I'll have a version of that puppet that can come on stage with me. And then those puppets that are up on the stands will have cages that close so they can go dark. I even thought about figuring out a way one of those puppets could fly down in the middle of my show. So none of this technology is available yet, but that doesn't mean that I don't want it to be available and I don't want to use it. I do want to use it. I just have been waiting very patiently now for over 30 years since I came up with this idea. Rodecaster Video made recording live in church so much easier. Yeah, I've heard that also from you, Grish. One device that does everything we need. No need for an iPad, companion, etc. Just a MacBook, and the device made it simple. Yeah, and I may add a Rodecaster Pro or Rodecaster Video to my my remote kit. I haven't decided yet. You are influencing me, Grish, by saying things like that. And I plan on watching some more videos. I'm watching for updates. And I'm watching for, because remember, when Rodecaster Pro came out with, or when Rode came out with the Rodecaster Pro, they got a lot of feedback. They did some updates, and then they had to come out with version 2. So in reality, I'm probably expecting Rode to come out with maybe another version of that in another year. So who knows? I may dive in before then. We will see. I own 2 Rodecaster Pro 2s and 1 Rodecaster Pro. So who knows? I'm not sure I want to spend $1,300 on version 1, and that's where I'm at right now, but that's good information. Thank you for sharing that. So, and it's cool that no one had to depend on you. That's really cool. I'm excited to pick up a new Mac Studio this year when the new chips come out. Yeah, so we'll see what Mac comes out with, what the new iPhones look like. Tony says he still wants a Rodecaster Video, and he's not pulled the trigger. So maybe Rode came out with something more user friendly and reinvented a more difficult wheel. Again, I understand the ATEMs are not easy to use. That's why I do consulting all the time and teach people how to use it. I've dove in deep to the ATEM. I just finished hours and hours of videos on the ATEM Extreme ISO. My part 2 covers, I think my part 1 and part 2 probably covers 90% of all the features available in the ATEM Extreme ISO. There's still things you could dive into the menus about that aren't on my video. I did not do anything on camera control because I don't own any Blackmagic Design cameras. So I did not cover that, but it's literally 2 hours and 40 minutes worth of video. My new video that's coming out is an hour, I think 49 minutes long. It's cut into chapters. And so I wanted people to be able to find another video here on my channel to teach them how to use an ISO. It also applies to the Extreme. The only difference between the Extreme and the Extreme ISO models is the fact that the ISO models can record all of the different inputs as well as make not an XML file, but make a DaVinci Resolve file that you can open up and change the edits later. You can also ingest 4K footage from the cameras if you recorded your cameras into your project as well. So there's lots of cool things that Blackmagic's done. And I think Blackmagic's camera app that's free is probably one of the other big things that have come out from Blackmagic Design in the recent years. If you have not downloaded and used the Blackmagic Design app for Galaxy or an iPhone, you need to try that app. It turns your phone into a legit video production device. It's limited by what these sensors can do in the dark, and there's some compromise in the newest iPhones from what I read compared to what's available in here, but there's also some additions that come in the newer iPhones. This is the 13 model, not the 14 or the 15. So Joe says he wants an ATEM with Wi-Fi. Yeah, there is wireless control in the Rodecaster Video. That's pretty cool if you want to wirelessly control it. That's really cool. Tony says, also would like a way to bring multiple guests into a show in 1080p, not 720p. 720p Zoom is great, but would love 1080, and Zoom's license costs for 1080p is super expensive. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of, multiple guests at 1080p would be great. Tony, I can totally understand, because you're doing a live podcast, or you're doing your podcast, bringing guests in all the time. And Schwartz Talks Sports. If you haven't seen that that show, if you like sports, go over and check that out. Tony will put the name in the chat right now, and go subscribe to that. And Tony is producing that show, and he's running the behind the scenes, and he's bringing all the guests in. But because their windows are so small, like, I don't need to be 1080p in this shot. 720p would be great. But 1080p downscaled is even better, because, 720p is half as many dots as 1080p, basically. And so it's way better view. And then if I went to a higher resolution in my streams, this picture that you're seeing right now would get even better. My laptop, is displaying this video. And the reason I popped it back up here is, let's see. It doesn't tell me. Oh, here it is. This is a 1080p quality. So if I took it down to 720p, this is a 720p picture. So again, when they're smaller frames, you can see a difference. I mean, watch it now. And then let me take it back up to 1080p. So it's less grainy, and you can see a difference, but I can totally understand, Tony, why you wouldn't want to pay for the license. For Zoom ISO, I think, is what you're using. But yeah, Schwartz Talking Sports on YouTube. Thanks for the plug, Keith. As always, Tony, you are a great cat. So happy to plug what you guys are doing. So I am, with all my heart, hoping that some of these visions that I've had, these dreams that I've had of things I've wanted to do, like, I always wanted to be able to do multiple camera angles, and now I can. And to be able to produce my own live stream and be able to change cameras. I mean, this is really cool. I can change cameras. I can change lighting. Wrong button. I can change lighting with a push of a button for this camera, so I can change views if I need to. I also have this view right here. So again, now you can see my studio, you can see my workspace, you can see my coffee cup. And this is this shot that I use occasionally to show people when I am consulting my setup. So you can see I have two speakers. I have two ATEMs on my desk. If I scoot back, you can see my ATEM Mini Pro, my wireless keyboard, my other glasses are here. You can see camera one now, which I rarely use. And we call this the Tony Quick Tech Solutions cam / Joe cam. Both of those guys, I've named this camera angle over. And I tell all my clients that I call this the Joe Trelli, the Quick Tech Solutions camera angle in my studio. So, and again, I'm using my Stream Deck right here and Elgato's plugin to change my lighting setup. So I have lighting setup 1. That's for my main camera when I'm live. And like you guys said tonight, it seems a little low. The lighting seems a little low. So I think something got tweaked. I just did a Stream Deck update to the firmware. I just did a Skycam update. That's why you didn't see the Skycam tonight, because I did the update and it was still updating before my intro reel was done. So I couldn't show you guys my Skycam, but I repositioned my Skycam up here in the corner. It's next to that light, and I can show you guys that angle because that camera is live now. It's been updated. Let's see. How do I bring this live right now? There you go. So I have my Skycam. Again, this is a Instant 360 version 1. Oh, let's switch cameras back. That camera up there is version 1. This is version 2. Version 1, I have 2 of them. I have one version 2. It's right here in the box. You can see I love this camera so much it doesn't come out of the box anymore. This has 2 gimbals. The other Instant 360 version 1 has 3 gimbals. I'm very disappointed in this product, and I've told them. I think this is ridiculous. The reason they did this is to lower the price, a little bit better resolution. There's nothing wrong with the sensor in this camera. There's nothing wrong with the resolution. There's even some extra features, a better microphone in this, but I'm disappointed because what I liked about this is the 3 gimbals. I mean, come on, Insta360, get that camera back. Put the new technology in a 3 gimbal camera so it can automatically switch to portrait without having to change it on a gimbal. I mean, it's crazy. I am not a big fan. And you know, guys, I don't talk negative about products very often, and I'm not being negative about this, but I'm not a fan because I expected this to do all the things my Insta360 Link 1 did, but it doesn't. So, and have better resolution, better microphone. So I'm disappointed that they removed the gimbal. They didn't hide it from anybody. They advertised it. So Insta360, just listen to me. You need to go back to a $300 camera with this kind of quality, even a little bit better with 3 gimbals. So it can be mounted anywhere and it can shoot down at the desk. It can turn portrait if you need it, because this is really getting better and better in remote control. And you can even take a barcode scan and run it from your phone. So I was expecting something better from Insta360. I was expecting Blackmagic Design to do something even better for desktops, and yet most of the things that came out last year didn't help any of the guys like me. Most of the people that are using their product are using the A10 Mini Pro or the Extreme ISO, some Blackmagic cameras, but all of the new technologies seem to be focused on bigger venues, bigger consoles, more expensive cameras, and I want to see more tech available to the average guy, including motors and some remote control robots type stuff that's available for consumers like me, because the robot technology and the ability for AI and all of that should be right there now, that I could make these remote puppets and then update them as I need to with new technology. But again, I'm ready. I'm ready to invent the new wheel and do ventriloquism at a whole new level that I've not seen done. And I realize I'm letting the cat out of the bag, but it would be a blast to be able to operate that. And so we'll see. Joe and Tony Cam. Haha. You should say Joni Cam. Make Insta360 Link great again. MIGA, I don't know, MIGA, is that a company? I would like to, oh, is that short for the camera? Anyway. Put this chat. Oh, what am I doing here? Off. Sorry, I thought I was putting the chat on the air. I showed you guys Skycam, so I got to fix chat again here. So there was that chat. This is the channel that Tony's talking about. Swartz Talk Sports on YouTube. Thanks for the plug, Keith. Let's see. I would like the Skycam to be my cam and the side cam to be Tony cam. Well, you can always ask. Good suggestion, Joe. Lamo, Miga, ha 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 ha. I'm just not tracking with Miga. Keith accidentally created a political party. Oh, I must have misspoken. Make Instant 360 great again. So I just can tell you that I was really having high hopes for 2024. And I just didn't see any new technology. In fact, other than the Insta 360 Link 2 and getting a used EOS R to replace my one camera, which I was able to get a great deal, $800 for an EOS R from another podcaster that was retiring his podcast. So he sold his camera. 2 years ago, I bought an extra ATEM Extreme ISO and a Rodecaster Pro 2 from a guy I helped a little bit through Zoom. So, you know, I've purchased some used gear the last couple of years. I purchased that Insta 360 Link this year, was really excited about it. Now I'm not so excited about it. The Elgato prompter would get my applause for 2024. And so it did ring a bell for me, and I use it all the time in my studio. In fact, I should be looking into it all the time, but I'm reading chat now rather than looking at my monitor, which is right above it. So, okay, well, so I've ranted, I have raved, but I wanted to say a shout out to that Yoda Guy. Again, I hope you guys took a snapshot, and we'll go check out some of his pages. It's Nick Maley, Maley. His cell number is on that card. So, man, you could call him. And maybe you want to do an interview with him, one of you guys. So I will ring him one of these days and thank him. I went on TripAdvisor and Google, his Google business page, and did a review. So he got a 5-star review from me. I put a picture of him and I on there. And so, again, I'm trying to do anything I can help his nonprofit. Also talked about some cruise ships tonight. So if you guys want to see more of my pictures from my cruise, I can just tell you that my wife had the time of her life, and you just can't not get excited when you go to places like this. And this is actually in a few blocks away from his store right here. You can see I'm in the same shirt right here as I'm in right here. So that was the day that we were with him in St Maarten in Philipsburg. So that island. And so some beautiful, beautiful shots on the cruise and by the boat and in the town, and moments like that where I got to meet someone that I think is pretty cool and able to have a conversation with him about what he does. And then tech, I'm really hoping that Insta360 can make me happy this year with a 3 gimbal Insta360 Link Pro 2 Pro. I don't care what they call it. I reached out to them. They know my feelings. And and I've had people contact me last year asking me to do videos, send me free stuff. But I've said no to everybody because I'm continuing to try to keep this channel about what I want to talk about and not have it turned into a sponsored channel at this point. Maybe in the future, could make more money doing that if I wanted to, but I just don't want to do that. And so I love taking pictures with my iPhone. This was done with my polarizer on my Polar Pro case and my Polar Pro lenses. This was also shot using the ND or the polarizing filter on my iPhone. So a lot of these shots I took when I was outside, I was using my Polar Pro kit, and maybe we'll talk about that again. I purchased that 2 years ago. So, okay, well, I hope you guys will support that nonprofit. Maybe go check out Rick's channels and subscribe to it as well. I will put a link to his YouTube channel. I think it's already in there. Watch that video that I showed you guys tonight. This video is in the description right there. So watch that video. And then there's another link that I put in the description tonight. So make sure you guys go check that out. I will be releasing, I promise, my part 2 of my ATEM Extreme ISO Getting Started series. I just need to watch it a couple more times on Wednesday and Thursday to make sure I didn't miss any typos. I don't want to have to repost it. And I hope you guys will watch that video, share it, and like it. It is everything that I could share about that product that I'm familiar with. And I may do a couple videos to go in that playlist with part 1 and 2. I'm not planning at this point doing a part 3, but I will do a couple support videos that will go with that as well. And then I'll just put them in the description later on and in the outro videos. So, okay, I'm going to say goodbye, but let's see. My guess is that companies are scrambling to add AI to everything and less on new hardware. Could be true. Thank you for that. You guys could pass for brothers. So then I wanted to share something really funny. A lot of times when I go out into the real world and out of this studio, people confuse me with Alec Baldwin. And so it was funny because my wife and I talked about this when we were waiting to get on our flight. And she goes, "Do you want me to call you Alec, honey?" And she goes, because they would never believe that you're Alec Baldwin if they saw you with me. And I'm going, what are you talking about? You're a babe. I mean, you are a babe. I absolutely think my wife is gorgeous. I don't really care what anybody else thinks, to be honest with you, pound sand. I absolutely love her. Been married with her for 43 years. And yeah, we're getting older and trying to stay healthy. We've both committed to walk. We did so many miles when we were on the cruise. We want to continue walking together. We absolutely enjoy it. We're rewriting the script right now. We've been taking care of her parents for years and years. So our life is changing right now. We're going to have, we're talking about buying an RV and doing some traveling. And if I do get an RV, we're going to be doing some more remotes. That's why I'm considering maybe getting the Roadcaster video. We'll see. My wife was looking at motorhomes this morning when we were sitting on the couch together. So I absolutely love moments like that. And my wife said a couple of people were staring at you. I had a lot of people that would just kind of like they didn't know if I was watching them watch me, but they would stare at me. And you can tell that look, I've seen it enough that they're trying to figure out who I am. Like they think I'm someone. I don't know. No one walked up to me on this trip and said, "You look like Alec Baldwin." But I shared the story with someone that we were talking about famous people and lookalikes, and one of the guys that was performing. And I said, yeah, people occasionally come up to me and said, "You look like Alec Baldwin." And this lady goes, That's it. I was trying to think about who it is you look like. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. But that was our big joke. Shannon was going to look at me and say, "Alec, honey, do you want to have the prime rib?" And to see if anyone would hook. I am going to do some research and I used to do some impressions. So I am going to work on my Alec Baldwin voice so I can play some games with people. I was asked in the Chicago airport if I was Alec Baldwin back in, I think 2018, I think it was early 17, gal at the rental car, 2 girls at the rental car company thought I was Alec Baldwin and asked the 2 guys I was with that were up at the counter if that's who I was. And they looked at me and said, they want to know if you're Alec Baldwin. And I said, am I going to get a discount on my rental car? Am I in? And they said, no. I go, I guess you guys will have to figure it out. So lots of fun on these cruises. people. I got a chance to meet new people, had some great conversations, learned about other cruise lines, got a chance to talk to some other Star Wars fans inside that Yoda Guy movie memorabilia museum, a nonprofit. So lots of fun. Okay, so let's finish with this. Tony says he can see that comparison. Alec Bennett, now that I mentioned it, you make a beautiful couple. That's about Shannon and I. I don't think that's about Alec Baldwin and I, but thank you for that, Hank. I appreciate it. Motorhome trip. Yeah, I would love to. We've already said, Shannon, I've already talked about it. We are so close being in Florida that we would like to get to North Carolina. And I also would like to do a B&H trip with Tony and Joe. They did a B&H trip. You guys should go watch that video. I think that's on your channel, Tony, right? Or is it on Joe's channel? But I'd love to put, if you guys email me that link, I'll put it in the notes below. You guys could watch that video of Tony and Joe going into B&H. I'd love to go to that store with you guys someday and hang out. And so who knows, we might make it to North Carolina. I love the seafood in those two states. I ate some incredible seafood in South Carolina. I've never tried seafood in North Carolina, but they have great seafood there. Yeah, it's on the Quick Tech channel. So go over to the Quick Tech channel and check out that video. And if you would email me that link to that video, Tony, that would be great, or I'll go dig for it. But I was duped by a Billy Joe lookalike. I wanna get the voice down and maybe look at what like glasses he's when I do these cruises, what glasses like he's, on social media. So if they Google him to see if I'm him, I want to buy a pair of glasses that look like glasses that he wears. So the rims will match. And so anyway, he got off free from his gun killing that lady charge in the movie, his Western movie. One of their prop guns went off and killed a camera woman, and he was in court for that. I think he was absolved of that and found innocent. But I'm not a big Alec Baldwin fan, but I loved him in the movie Hunt for Red October. That was a great movie, did a great job. I loved him playing, who is it? Not Jack Bauer. What is his name? Jack Ryan. So I will email it to you. So I will put that video in the description tonight. You guys check out the videos in there. So that's it. It's been almost 2 hours. I'm rolling out. Thank you guys for joining me. Sorry I was gone last week and not live, but not sorry that I was away on a cruise, away from my phone. Again, I loved absolutely not having to deal with this at all. I used it as a camera on most days. I think I texted Shannon 4 times. We pretty well stayed together for most of the cruise. She did say a couple times I was getting a little short with her and I was getting tired and needed a break from her. But no, I didn't want to break from her at all. But I can't say that we weren't irritating each other. We had more quality time together in that trip than we probably had all last year because all the things going on in our life. So it was really enriching. I highly recommend you guys take a vacation together with your spouses if they're still alive, or you're married, or your best friend, or someone that you just can thoroughly enjoy life. Disconnect as much as you possibly can from social media so you're connecting with the people. And then I wanted to say this. Oh, I've got to do this here. Before I go, I'm so sorry. See if I can find this picture here. Oh, come on. I thought I had it ready to go. Is it here? Let me Google it real quick here. Okay. I think I got an email from Tony. This is important. I wanted to talk just real quickly, and I would be amiss if I didn't do this. my wife Shannon really got inspired talking to Nick Maley, and he wrote this book, and I have a still image here. I thought I put it in here, but I did not. So let me get it real quick. I want to give you guys the book title. I'm going to put a link in the description tonight. For time's sake, I'm just going to put this picture on the screen. Do or do not outlook 77 steps to living an extraordinary life. Oh man, let's get it in front of me so the camera focus on it. So there's his book. And he literally was inspiring people, like challenging them. That little clip of audio he was talking about, anybody can be average. So he was really challenging us. And Shannon said it really, he touched her heart. And I think it's because he survived cancer. He's had to fight for some things. He's worked on some teams. He went out on his own. So I wanted to just say, spending time together with spouses, challenging each other to break out of the molds. I have kind of gotten stagnant in 2024. So Shannon and I have committed that 2025, we're going to get out there more, not just on cruises. We're going to do some things we haven't done before. We're going to challenge ourselves and really make this a better year for us. So, okay. The last thing here, I will pop this. Do I have chat enabled? I do. Ratso did not go on the cruise with me. And I'm going to grab this link right now from Tony. There's the link in the chat, and I'll also put that in the description tonight. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you, Tony, for providing that link via email for me tonight. And those of you that like those characters that are out there in the world, hopefully you have been compared to some movie star one time in your life and it made you feel a little bit better about yourself. So I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. It is an absolute honor and privilege to be with you guys on Tuesday. I'm going to try to be more frequently. I have missed a few out of the last 6 weeks, and I'll keep you up to date. I'm going to sit down with my notebook. I'm going to get a calendar for a planning calendar for 2024. Not just use my iPhone. I'm also write out some ideas and some plans for my channel, some streams, some people I want to meet and interview. I'm going to broaden the channel a little bit this year. I'm just going to warn you guys because I want to look at not just streaming technology. I want to look at some of the other cutting edge technology. And I'm actually going to play around a little bit with AI this year. I've literally had a wall up to AI. And so I want to do some AI research this year, especially because it would apply to some of the things I do. I have an invitation to take Ratso into an elementary school as of right now, but the more I think about that, the more I want to expand what I would be capable of doing, and I want to make a life-changing impact, not to overcomplicate things, not to bring every time I need to have big tech to do things. I am very capable of going in and being an animated character myself. I've done it before, not just animating puppets, but animating myself playing characters. But in reality, I want to make a big impact on generations that are coming up. And I also want to continue impacting the generations that are tuning in with me on my live streams and joining me on my YouTube channel. So I hope you guys will enjoy the journey with me this year. We're going to broaden the horizons a little bit. I may even take you guys shopping for a motorhome. We'll see what we do. I will have more clips and more footage from my trip in future live streams, as well as I have a new Hot Toys Johnny Depp Captain Jack Sparrow coming, being shipped here in the next week or so. So I will be having Dominic and I do an unboxing of that. I might show you guys some footage of that. I may even bring that character on the screen for you guys. If you're interested, you guys let me know. But that's it. I am Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios, and I don't know if I'll mess around with Chat GPT, Joe. We'll see. So that's it for me, guys. Enjoy your week. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Watch for my new Extreme ISO Getting Started Part 2 video later this week. And please like and subscribe tonight. If you haven't already, please ring the bell if you want to see all the videos coming up on my channel. And I'm planning to launch the Dominic and Keith channel called Bennett's Collectibles in 2025. Now that we've collected enough things to do videos on, so you may even want to go subscribe to that channel. We'll see. We'll see if there's any animatronic parrots in the future as well. Maybe even a Rodecaster video and some new technology in 2025 right here in the studio. That would be great. And I can't wait for Instant 362 Pro, Instant 360 Link 2 Pro, 3 gimbals. Go for 4 if you must. And that's all I have to say about that. We'll see you guys next week. I'm out.